Hello, I'm Mrs. J, and welcome to my math class. Today we're going to cover section 12.3, which is the chain rule. When you have the chain rule, you have a function within a function. Usually it's large exponents, the square root, a big number in the denominator, but it's one function inside of another. So when that happens, you take the derivative of the outside, and you multiply it by the derivative of the inside. So derivative of the outside times the derivative of the inside. Okay, let's look at one. So we have this. This part is the inside. So first we do the outside. We bring the 4 down in front. We have the 8x to the 4th minus 5x squared plus 1. We keep the inside the same. And then we subtract 1 from the exponent and get a 3. And so that's the outside. Bring the 4 down and subtract 1 from the exponent. Then you take the derivative of the inside, which would be 8 times 4, 32x cubed minus 10x, and the 1 goes to 0. So the derivative of the outside times the derivative of the inside. And there really isn't anything you can do to simplify unless you want to multiply 4 times this part. But with this power, you can't do anything with this part. Let's try another one. This is our inside. So we're not touching this, we're working with the outside. Negative 6 times a negative 2 is 12. Keep the inside the same. And then subtract 1 and get a negative 7. So negative 6 times a negative 2 is 12. Inside stays the same. Subtract 1, and then we multiply by the derivative of the inside, which is 24x to the 1st, and 5 goes to 0. Square root, we need to rewrite first. There we go. Now we can use the chain rule. 1/2 times a negative 4. Half of 4 is a negative 2. Keep the inside the same. And subtract 1 and get a negative 1/2. So you multiply and then subtract 1 times the derivative of the inside, which is 14x. Let's try one more. When we have a value in the denominator, we could use the quotient rule, derivative of the top, or the top times the derivative of the bottom minus the bottom times the derivative of the top. We could use that rule. I'm switching it now. But notice there's only a number on top. We can move this up and use the chain rule. So then when we take the derivative, negative 2 times negative 5 is 10. Keep the inside the same. Subtracting 1, we get a negative 3. And then we multiply by the derivative of the inside, which is 6x squared. And so it's just another way of doing it. But both are correct. If we did it the other way, we'd have the bottom, which was this, 2x cubed plus 1 squared times the derivative of the top. Well, the derivative of the top is 0. Minus the top times the derivative of the bottom, which is a chain rule, 2 times 2x cubed plus 1 to the first, because we subtract 1, times the derivative of the inside, which is 6x squared. Believe it or not, these are the same. This drops out. Negative and negative is a positive 5 times 2 times 6 gives us 60. Or this times this gives us the 10. Did I subtract 1? Yeah. And then don't forget all of it over the bottom. Squared. So this is definitely a lot more involved, more likely to make a mistake than it is if you bring it up first and then use the chain rule. Both of these are the same thing. But that's everything for the chain rule.